campus of Western Carolina University in Cullowhee. It's time for the craziest show in the mountains. I'm talking none other than Manny's Rockin Conspiracies here on WWCU-FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University. Heard in Silva, Dillsboro, and all throughout Jackson County and worldwide on WWCU-FM.com. I'm your host, Manny, and friends, please just call me Manny. It's good to be back here on Power 90.5, Cullowhee's classic rock station. Oh, my fellow students are having a good start to the semester, and all of you out there in Jackson County having a good start to your semester. Semester? I messed that up right there. Oh my goodness. Radio happens, folks. Anyway, I got a lot of conspiracies. The winter break has been amazing, and it also makes me wonder why all the good conspiracies and all the good paranormal happenings always come out when I'm off the air. I don't understand why. There's a lot of things to talk about. There's a witness to Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 crash, and astronomer doubles down on the Oumuamua alien theory. The Flat Earth Society has planned a Flat Earth cruise. Someone thinks that China's moon mission is a hoax. Harry Reid lobbies Congress to take a look at UFOs. A Russian religious leader warns of satanic smartphones, and discussion on the famous alleged time traveler John Titor. But I want to start first with something that happened to me before I left campus. As some of my fellow students would know, you have to leave campus on the 15th of December by 5 o'clock. That's the rule, unless you have an extension through residential living. I'm doing laundry, just preparing myself for the long drive back home to good old Cameron, North Carolina, which takes about 4 hours to do. I walk out to go fetch my laundry, and on my mat in my dorm room is a rock. I'm holding it up on the studio webcam. It's not that big of a rock, but it fits in the palm of my hand. It's kind of large. And I have no clue how it got there or who put it there. Something is odd here, folks. Something is odd here. Austin Page, the former student program coordinator here at WWCU-FM, said that I should make it the mascot of my show. It is Manny's Rockin Conspiracies. Ha. It's always like to see some weird things happen on campus. I like that because it's local. I love it. Another thing that was interesting was a report by someone on Twitter who was another student here at Western from at Dragon Snoot, SNOOT. They installed some speakers in the clock tower last semester so that it would chime at certain times, as well as play music at 5 o'clock. But there's a cable loose or something up there, and now the whole campus has an evil-sounding background buzz that haunts you wherever you walk. I knew I wasn't hearing things. I knew it. I knew it. And I told him I thought that there was some alien invasion happening at this bell tower. There is something fishy about the bell tower this semester. I knew I wasn't hallucinating when I heard some weird buzzing. That there was some UFO that I didn't see above the bell tower. Oh my goodness. All the things that are happening on campus and off. I got a lot to get into. But first, let's get some music. I got a whole lot of brand new music burned on CDs just for you. We're going to start the show off with To Be Loved by Papa Roach. You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies. Welcome back to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies here on WWCU-FM. Before we get into our first conspiracy of the night, I thought it would make good timing to play this song. It may not get played at the Super Bowl, but here it is. Sweet Victory on Manny's Rockin Conspiracies.
Winner takes all. It's the thrill of one more kill, the last one to fall. Who never sacrifice their will. Don't ever look back on the world closing in. Be on the attack with your wings on the wind. All the things will begin. And it's sweet, sweet, sweet victory, yeah. And it's ours for the taking. It's ours for the fight. And it's sweet, sweet, sweet victory, yeah. And the one is last to fall.
That is in memory of Stephen Hillenburg, the creator of the cartoon SpongeBob SquarePants. He passed away during the break, and there has been a petition to play Sweet Victory, this song from the episode Band Geeks, at the Super Bowl. Well, that may not happen. I made a promise that I would play that song when I got back on the air, and you better believe that I fulfilled that promise. Let's get into our conspiracies. The first one's one I've been seeing a lot on Facebook. Have you ever been to Facebook and you've seen the 10-year challenge where people take photos of them from like 10 years ago and then show them now? It's a fun little comparison meme. But what if, according to Nicole Martin from Forbes, was the Facebook 10-year challenge a way to mine data for facial recognition AI? Last week, a new Facebook challenge went viral asking users to post a photo from 10 years ago and one from today captioning, "How did aging affect you?" Now being called the 10-year challenge. Over 5.2 million, including many celebrities, participate in the challenge. It follows closely after the Bird Box challenge, the top 9 photos of the year challenge. But this one caused quite a stir and some concern from users. Speculation arose about the motive behind this viral challenge and had users questioning if this was a ploy by Facebook to use for facial recognition data. Kate O'Neill, a writer for Wired, wrote an op-ed exploring the possibility that this was more than just a fun challenge to share with friends. Excuse me. Imagine that you want to train a facial recognition algorithm on age-related characteristics, and more specifically on age progression, e.g. how people are likely to look as they get older. Ideally, you'd want a broad and rigorous data set with lots of people's pictures. It would help if you knew that they were taken a fixed number of years apart, say 10 years, say O'Neill. However, many people have argued that Facebook already has access to these photos since the challenge often asked people to share their first profile picture to their current. O'Neill argued that people don't always upload in chronological order, and many people have profile pictures other than themselves, like cartoons, family members, animals, political statements, etc. This challenge gives Facebook the opportunity to have a clean version of who you are by the context you add, such as telling your age in the photo, year, or other information that you share in the post. According to NYU professor Amy Webb, this photo challenge is a perfect storm for machine learning. Webb is currently working on an upcoming book on how AI can manipulate humans. Facebook insists that they were not involved in the start of this challenge and had no benefit from it going viral. This is a user-generated meme that went viral on its own. Facebook did not start this trend, and the meme uses photos that already exist on Facebook, the company said. Facebook gained nothing from this meme besides reminding us of the questionable fashion trends of 2009. As a reminder, Facebook users can choose to turn facial recognition on or off at any time. However, with 2.2 billion users uploading hundreds of millions of photos a day, it's not to say that the algorithm for facial recognition will not benefit from a challenge like this. Adding to their already robust database of faces. Facebook has been working with facial recognition technology for the past few years with things like tagging photos and not recognizing photos you may be tagged in, even if you are not connected with the person you post the photo on the social platform. So even if you do turn it off, your face lives somewhere in the platform. You can delete cookies, you can change browsers, and you can leave your smartphone at home. But you can't delete your face, and you can't leave it at home. Well, what do you think? Do you think the lizard man that might be Mark Zuckerberg is trying to run an AI that recognizes your face on Facebook with the 10-year challenge? Do you think so? Why don't you let me know at 828-227-7173. Again, 828-227-7173 is the number to call. It's a very interesting topic because I know Facebook gets involved in a lot of conspiracies, and I mean a lot. Let's get back to the music. This is a song from Green Day's secret side project, The Network. This is Rochambeau from their only album, Money Money 2020. You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies on WWCU-FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University.
Your boss says turn it down?
Let's keep working, people.
Rockin' at work at WWCU-FM.com. Power 90.5.
Welcome back to Manny's Rockin' Conspiracies on WWCU-FM, broadcasting all throughout the Jackson County area, and we're online at WWCU-FM.com. I think it's time we get into a conspiracy that I haven't talked about ever, and it's one of the biggest mysteries out there. So let's get into it.
And so right now there's over 1,000 nuclear weapons just on a group of ships pointed at North Korea. Of course, you know where the rest are really pointed. Justin Bieber!
All right, so have you heard of John Titor? No? Well, it's a mystery online that claims a person by the name of John Titor, or Teeter, however you pronounce it, is a time traveler from the year 2564 and has made futuristic predictions. This happened in the 90s to the early 2000s. It all began with a fax to Art Bell, the host and creator of Coast to Coast AM, a show similar to mine that discusses the paranormal and various conspiracy theories. It was sent to Art Bell on July 29th, 1998. Dear Art, I had to fax when I heard other time travelers calling in from any time past the year 2500 AD. Please let me explain. Time travel was invented in 2034. Offshoots of certain successful fusion reactor research allowed scientists at CERN to produce the world's first contained singularity engine. The basic design involves rotating singularities inside a magnetic field. By altering the speed and direction of rotation, you can travel both forward and backward in time. Time itself can be understood in terms of connected lines. When you go back in time, you travel on your original timeline. When you turn your singularity engine off, a new timeline is created, due to the fact that you and your time machine are now there. In other words, a new universe is created. To get back to your original line, you must travel a split second farther back and immediately throw the engine into forward without turning it off. Some interesting outcomes of this are: 1, you meet yourself. I've done it often, even take a younger version of myself along for a few rides before turning myself to the new timeline and going back to mine. 2, you can alter history in the new universe that you have just created. Most of the time, the changes are subtle. Sometimes I'll notice car models that don't exist or books that come out late. The oldest one was a skyscraper that wasn't built in a near favorite store of mine in New York. Interestingly, when you travel back in time, you must compensate for the orbit of the Earth. Since the time machine doesn't move on, you have to adjust the engines so you remain on the planet when you turn it off. Unfortunately, it was also discovered that anyone going forward in time from my 2036 hit a brick wall in the year 2564. Everyone who has ever been there has reported that nothing exists. Even when the machine is turned off, you find yourself surrounded by blackness and silence. Now, most time travelers are trying to find out where the line went bad by going into the past, creating a new universe, and proceeding forward to see the same thing results in 2564. It appears the line went bad around the year 2000. I'm here now in this time to test a few theories of mine before we're going forward. Now, for the future, you might want to know about. Now, here is what was big about John Titor. John Titor made a lot of futuristic predictions. And we'll get to know why that became a whole lot more in later years. 1, Y2K is a disaster. Well, I think we can just say that didn't happen. 2, the government tries to keep power by instituting martial law, but all of it collapses when their efforts to bring the power back up fail. 3, a power facility in Denver is able to restart itself but is mobbed by hundreds of thousands of people and destroyed. This convinces most that we shouldn't bring the old system back up. 4, a few years later, communal government system is developed after the Constitution takes a few twists. China retakes Taiwan, Israel wins the largest battle for their life, and Russia is covered in nuclear snow from their collapsed reactors. Art, the reason I'm here now is because I believe a nuclear weapon set off by Iraq in the Middle East with Israel might have something to do with the damaged timeline. I will test that theory and get back to you. Please pray that we discover why there is no apparent future after 2564. Now, nothing much was thought of this. It was very common on Coast to Coast AM, and it still is common on that program today, that people would call in claiming to be employees of the Men in Black, or they live at Area 51. It's very common. And the attraction to Art Bell led, it was a forum where they were not ridiculed. 2 years later, John Titor came back in 2000 under the username Time Travel 0. At the time, the name John Titor was not being used. The post discussed time travel in general, the first one being the 6-part description of what a time machine would need to have to work, and responses to questions about how such a machine could work. Early messages tend to be short. A second thread was also made due to shortcomings in the forum at the same time. The name John Titor was not introduced until 2001 of January, when Time Travel _0 began posting at the Art Bell BBS forums. The Titor post ended in 2001. In his online postings, Titor claimed to be an American soldier from 2036 based in Tampa, Florida. Hey, I'm from that area, Clearwater, Florida. He was assigned to a governmental time travel project and was sent back to 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer, which he said was needed to debug various legacy computer problems in 2036, a possible reference to the Unix year 2038 problem. Now, if you don't know what I'm getting at here, the 2038 problem is basically like Y2K, because what happened on Y2K was there was a bug in the coding of time that in some computers displayed the date instead of January 3rd, 2000, it's like January 3rd, 1900. And in 2038, there's going to be a time in the day in which there's a bug with the coding, and the year will instead look as it says 1938 instead of 2038. Titor said he had been selected for this mission specifically, given that his paternal grandfather, why did I read that way, was directly involved with the assembly and programming of the 5100. In support of this, he described unpublicized features of the 5100, leading to assumptions that a computer scientist was behind the postings. Titor said also he had been for a few months trying to alert anyone listening about the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease spread through beef products at the possibility of civil war with the United States. When questioned about them by an online subscriber, Titer also expressed an interest in mysterious such as UFOs, which remained unexplained in his time. Titer suggests that UFOs and extraterrestrials might be travelers from much further into the future than his own time, with superior machines. Now, his first posting was very similar to the facts that he said to Art Bell. And, just different things how he got an IBM 5100. His predictions went like this. The most immediate of Titer's predictions was an upcoming civil war in the United States having to do with order and rights. He described it as beginning in 2004 with the Olympics would be canceled, with civil unrest starting the presidential election of that year. Well, as I think most of us know, that didn't happen in 2004. The civil conflict that he characterized as having a Waco-type event every month that steadily gets worse will be pretty much at everyone's doorstep and erupt by 2008. And as a result of the war, the United States would split into 5 regions based on various differing military objectives. This civil war, according to Titer, would end in 2015 with a brief but intense World War III. Titer refers to the exchange as End Day. Washington, D.C. and Jacksonville, Florida are specifically mentioned as being hit. After the war, Omaha, Nebraska would be the new United States capital. Titer was vague about the exact motivations and causes for World War III. At one point, he characterized the hostilities as being led by border clashes and overpopulation. He also pointed to the contemporary conflict between Arabs and Israel as not a cause, but rather a milestone that precedes a World War III. Titer claimed that at 13 years old in 2011, he joined the Fighting Diamondbacks, a shotgun infantry unit in Florida. Titer claimed the Everett Wheeler model of quantum physics, better known as the many-world interpretation, was correct. According to Titer, this caused a time stream to almost time travel. It's a very interesting prediction. And I see right in the door, is that Dan from The Edge? Is that who I think it is? Is that Dan from The Edge? I'll get you on mic 3. Hold on. Let me get you up there. You're on, Dan. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on there, brother?
Brother. Yeah, nothing much. We're talking about John Titer, who was who posted in like early internet forums in the year in 2000 that he was a time traveler from 2036.
Yeah.
Claiming that like Civil War would begin in 04 around the presidential election, the Olympics would be canceled, and in 08 would actually have World War III, Omaha, Nebraska to be the new U.S. capital. Why Omaha? I don't know.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one that started on Art Bell's show, Coast to Coast AM, in 1998. So I don't know how I've gone this long without talking about it, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know. You guys don't know, Dan is from The Edge. His show is 6 to 8 on Thursday or 8 to 10?
8 to 10.
Thank you, 8 to 10. His show is The Edge with Dan, 8 to 10.
That's right.
They've been discussing Hulk Hogan jokes in class and radio production too. So, brother.
How you doing, brother?
Now, I'll wrap this up with John Titer. Basically,
I used
Go ahead.
I used to actually be a quote unquote like conspiracy theorist type of person.
Oh.
Back in the day, like in the early 90s, I had my own like site that was known as Conspiracy Man 2000, and I did all kinds of UFO stuff on it and things like that. So I've been down this road once or twice myself.
That's pretty interesting. But let me explain what happened to John Titer. Basically, in 2003, the post stopped. They've been archived since the Art Bell forums they're gone. It's believed that Larry Haber, an entertainment lawyer in Florida, and his brother Maury Haber created John Titer. Now let me know how this works. Titer claims to be from Tampa, Florida. And back in those days, you'd have the IP address when you posted. Their IP address is Celebration, Florida. They live in Celebration, Florida. That's one possibility. John Titer is actually a registered trademark as well. So it's a very interesting mystery, and it's most likely that John Titer never existed, though he did provide some interesting discussions on time travel. All right, we're going to go to break. I got a great song queued up, one of my favorite covers. It's by a band in Norway called Sabaton. They covered Rammstein's Feuer Frei. And you're going to hear it is just amazing. Awesome. This is Manny's Rockin Conspiracies. Joined for now with Dan from The Edge. You're listening to the craziest show in the mountains on WWCU-FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University. The 7 o'clock Numa here on Manny's Rockin' Conspiracies. It's always so fun to play and to explain people what I do at 7 o'clock, because I'm joined by Dan from The Edge. You listen to him on Thursdays 8 to 10, The Edge with Dan. Dan, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good. Now, as always, I gotta get into conspiracies here, Dan. So, are you ready for all this?
Please.
Are you ready for all this?
Proceed with your conspiracies, Manny.
All right. Well, let's go. Just real quick, a message from Alex Jones.
Look at me, I'm a gay frog. I'm so cool, I'm so neat. I'll never have children and I'm sterilized. But the media says I'm totally cool. I'm a gay frog, I'm a gay fish. It's so good, and I think my daddy atrazine. Thanks to atrazine, there'll be no more frogs. But we're gay, so it's cool. Thanks, atrazine.
I have to, Dan. I'm sorry. I have to.
It's all good. It's all good, brother.
If you guys don't know, we've been doing like Hulk Hogan memes in class.
For
together.
whatever reason. Just because.
What you gonna do, brother?
Brother.
All right. So this thing has been really interesting to me. It's a story out of Russia. Just that there. A Russian religious leader warns of satanic smartphones. I'm looking at you, iPhone. All right, let's see what happens here. A powerful religious leader in Russia is warning residents that the society's increasing reliance on smartphones and similar technology could usher in the arrival of the Antichrist. Patriarch Kirill, who heads the Russian Orthodox Church, reportedly made the worrisome remarks during a TV interview on Monday evening. Specifically, he cautioned about the ability to harvest personal information from these devices and the potential for such insights to be used for evil purposes. Every time you see your gadget, he chillingly observed, somebody can find out exactly where you are, exactly where your interests are, and exactly what you are scared of. While this may sound like a marketer's dream, I love that, noted that these details would also prove tempting to forces beyond our human realm. To that end, he ominously declared that, quote, the Antichrist is the person who will be at the head of the World Wide Web, controlling all of humankind.
Hasn't that happened once already?
What do you mean?
I mean, they were prophesying the Antichrist like way back in the day anyway, so.
A lot of people prophesize the end of the world. I remember when I first came on the air. This was actually before I came on the air, I should say. It was Family Weekend 2 years ago. And I'm excited because, Western Carolina was playing Sanford and they won an amazing game.
Nice.
My family was home and I'm so excited. And I was starting my stuff with this lovely station. There was a conspiracy that Planet X would come out of nowhere, crash into the Earth on this day, and then we'd all be dead.
I remember that.
Yes, and I'm like, how did you find this out? Through codes in the book of Revelation in the Bible. What? Drilling down deeper into this unsettling scenario, he argued that it is likely inevitable that technology will allow for someone or some group to eventually access or utilize the vast ocean of personal information freely offered by individuals online. And that point, he fears a dangerous door that could be opened, opining that such control from one place forebodes the coming of the Antichrist.
I got to do it.
What?
Dun, dun, dun.
I just love this. There's actually an old video where Alex Jones is talking about he's talking about how this TV series came out in like the late 2000s, and it has this guy that's supposed to be the devil, but looks like Obama.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, the devil, Baphomet, Leviathan. He goes, yes, Obama is the Antichrist. So I think a lot of people have been accused of being the Antichrist.
There you go.
If we're being honest here. Every year there's some doomsday that we're all going to die on this day because the NWO's taking over and all that stuff. That's interesting. That's a very interesting one. I'm going to get into this one real quick. Dan, you know the Flat Earth, right?
Yes.
Did you know the Flat Earth International Conference in Denver, Colorado that happened last year?
Oh, well, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. So would you go on a Flat Earth cruise?
I thought that's where you were going because I just actually recently saw an article about that.
Yes.
Please.
A cruise dedicated to the controversial Flat Earth conspiracy theory has been announced for 2020, and the ambitious event is already drawing snickers from skeptics. Because of its nautical venue, the gathering on the high seas is the brainchild of the group behind what has been a widely series of conventions in the U.S. and Canada. In addition to unveiling plans for a pair of 2019 confabs, the Flat Earth International Conference teased the forthcoming cruise set for next year by declaring it to be their, quote, biggest, boldest, best venture yet, brother. Unfortunately for Flat Earth fans, however, the concept of having a convention aboard a cruise ship has led to the conspiracy theory once again becoming the subject of ridicule. That's because, as explained by a former cruise ship captain who spoke to the British newspaper The Guardian, ships navigate based on the principle that the Earth is round. Nautical charts are designed with that in mind. It's uncertain if the organizers of the cruise were available at this event or this fact, or much like the idea the Earth's round, they simply refuse to believe it. For anyone who fears that the Flat Earth fans might wind up embarking on a maritime misadventure by eschewing the flawed navigation system based on the planet being round, the seasoned sailor has said that does not be a problem. Quote, I have sailed 2 million miles, give or take, he mused. I have not encountered one sea captain who believes the Earth is flat. For the sake of whoever is tasked with helming the Flat Earth cruise, let's hope they can avoid a mutiny from passengers afraid that they're about to sail over the edge. You know,
There you go.
I don't know how this is gonna work out because what if on they're like on the Flat Earth cruise, go to the ice wall where NASA agents are waiting for you and guarding the ice wall. What? What?
Anything is possible, you know.
Both of these come from the people at Coast to Coast AM. All right. Let me see what I got. Yeah. Let's go into one more thing real quick. You know a Bigfoot, right, Dan?
Absolutely.
Bigfoot. Well, there's been reports of Bigfoot in Moxville in Davie County.
Oh.
Because someone put up a Bigfoot statue along some road in Moxville, and people at night have driven by thinking they're seeing Bigfoot, and they've called 911. Here is what the police department said. This handsome fellow stands on Pine Ridge Road in Moxville. If you are traveling this road at night, please be advised that the eyes appear to glow. If you see this phenomenon, you do not need to call animal control to report seeing Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or any other large creature. Thank you. Do not tie up 911 lines.
But it's Bigfoot, and his eyes are glowing.
My grandmother, by the way, who's listening in right now, her and my brother Aiden, she once mentioned that her ex-husband, they went on like a big, like some people, when they were biking across like some area, they went on like a Bigfoot sighting thing, and they never found anything.
Interesting.
She believes that the bikers were trying to scare her.
Huh.
So, Bigfoot in North Carolina, I know in Marion, they've been the official town of Bigfoot. They made Bigfoot like their official cryptid.
Right.
Which is like, here we are in Marion, the town of Bigfoot. Nothing against Marion. I love you guys. You guys are great. All right. Let's get into the music. This is for my friend Isaac in Alabama. He loves Ozzy Osbourne. He loves Black Sabbath. So I thought, give him a real treat. This is the beginning of heavy metal. From their very first album, this is Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies on WWCU-FM.
Invasion force! Yes, yes, yes. I murder Africa. Oh my gosh, so trendy. Release us.